Hello, 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 everyone. This is Reverend T. Welcome back again. I am the Mindful Coach, and this is Mindful Intentions Nurture and Drive Your Business. This evening, I told you earlier, my next guest, his name is Mark Melvin. He is a storyteller at heart, weaving the rich tapestry of life experiences into narratives that resonate with and inspires others. His journey is marked by overcoming personal battles. As a testament to his resilience and strength, Mark's unique insight led him to serve as a consultant for the acclaimed show Gangland, bringing authenticity and depth to the portal of complex social dynamics. From 1994 to 2000, Mark contributed to the legacy of the MLK House in Detroit, working under the mentorship of the influential DJ Captain Chris and Keith Max from Hot 97. What?
Yes, ma'am.
The athletic field, where he both coached and played men's professional softball, proudly representing Pennzoil. Mark's life is intertwined with excellence. His former partner was an elite college athlete, a shining example of dedication and skill, a proud alumnus of FAMU. Mark's experiences are too numerous and varied to confine in a single list. Despite recent challenges, including recently the loss of his home due to water damage, Mark's spirit remains unbroken. He has embraced a new beginning in a larger space, focusing on healing and recovering at home. His daily routine is a reflection of his values: trust in Jesus, my friend, maintaining a clean house, and extending a helping hand to others. An honored individual, Mark's passion for meeting and connecting with people is palpable. His story is one of triumph, generosity, and unwavering faith. As he continues to share his narrative, he invites others to join him on the journey of growth and discovery. And today, we are here to hear what Mark has to say. Mark,
You're gonna
welcome.
make me cry. That was so nice.
Welcome to
Um,
the podcast. I'm so grateful to
yes,
have
Jim.
you. Tell us a little
I'm
bit more.
grateful.
Who are you?
Yes.
What do you do? Why do you do it?
What I do right now is just I help my wife. We take care of our children. My father-in-law lives with us. I do a lot of writing, a lot of reading. When my wife decided to go back to school and get she has a dual PhD in education and psychology. Prior to that, she worked in a cancer center and a renal medicine clinic for 17 years. I spent a brief amount of time in the military, in the Air Force, as a Special Forces pararescue. I broke my ankle real bad, and I had the option to get out with the entry level separation slash honorable discharge. Because when you get into those type of things, you have to be declassified. And I got a job from a senator at the time, Nita Lowry from New York with the New York State Youth Division, and then later went out to Michigan. So I was trained in first aid, CPR, whatever. But it was my wife. I became her content editor, and I love to read. I dealt with my childhood stuff and my PTSD and everything they said I have, which I don't even take an antidepressant. I was able to overcome just through reading and just resiliency because I was the youngest. So at 8 years old, I was, pretty much hanging out with Teamsters and grown men. And my dad was a cop, and then he went into private security, and then he ran the city of Yonkers water treatment plant. My uncle ran the Teamsters Union, the local 456. My mom started off as a cafeteria aide, and she became head of program support and services for the Yonkers Board of Education. She worked there over 40 years. I just so I hung around my dad, and I'm the youngest at 59. I'll be 60. And my brother Michael's 4 years. My brother Matty unfortunately passed away. And then my sister's the oldest at 68. So I was hanging around with the older guys. And it was some fun. And it was a lot of good times. I was a pretty good football player, and we were undersized, and but we had a coach who he said, we're not going to out finesse anybody, but we're going to out condition them, we're going to out speed them, and we're going to out together them. And towards the end of our senior year, like, we didn't even have to talk to each other. Everyone knew what to do. And he gave me the greatest compliment he could give. He said, "You're just uncoachable." So just go freestyle and have fun. So, and boy, we had fun. And we beat the Giants. So, New Rochelle High School. And there was no state bracket back then. So, Gorton High School, we had a football field. Actually, it was a rock. So I don't even know if it was a field. A couple of tennis courts with no nets. It looked like Leavenworth. And basketball and everything we had to play at a middle school. And boy, we did our thing. But we our summer practices were 6 in the morning to 8, then 9 to noon, 2 to 5, and then 7 to 9 at night, and then 4 scrimmages, inter squad, and then we started the season. And we played straight through. The championship weekend was always right before Thanksgiving. And then there was like 4 teams left in this whole state that would play this annual Thanksgiving thing. One of us. So 2 of my 4 losses in 4 years of high school came after we had won the county and the state champ, because, it's like playing the Super Bowl on a Saturday. Then Wednesday, Thursday, you got to play a team that's 3-6. Not taking nothing away from them. They were great. Yonkers High, which was School Street, DMX. I remember Jadakiss and the Locksmith when they used to buy, and Styles when they used to buy cassettes at Woolworths or take them to cut demos, And I still can't believe he passed away. Earl Simmons, DMX. He was quite a character. He was a good. They all were good guys. And there's another testament. My nephew is he's just made detective, 17 years with the Yonkers Police Department. And when DMX died, there was a lot of tension. So Yonkers Police wanted an officer because School Street, there's one way in, one way out. So they said, well, we want, your nephew. Because he worked at the PAL. So he went to work in jeans and a t-shirt, and his wife used to get mad because he spent more money on the kids than, and that's just how, and even my dad back in the 50s, his best friend and teammate, Claude Lee, was African-American. So I never understood that whole, people like, why? I am Irish, Italian, and Ukrainian. You know what I mean? Call it what you may. I see color differently. I really do. I never did. My wife is, told him I'm messing up your kids. She is Spanish and Filipino and Chinese. And, but we are blessed. She said, watch it. 24 years. And that's another funny story. When I came back from Michigan, I went to work. I said, let me try this. I took like a FML leave. So let me try this job out. It was shift work at a hospital. So I get a call that some girl is in trouble. So she was getting restrained by an 8-year-old kid. I was in the adolescent unit. I went up. That night, my boss said, can you work an extra 4 hours? And we were working 13-hour shifts. I said, no way. She said, man, I'll pay you for 8 of it. And I sat next to her, and we've been together ever since. And we'll be married 24 years this September, together 25 in June. Ain't that some story? So, yeah, it was real interesting. It's been a blast, but going back, fast forwarding back, I went everywhere with my dad. My brother went in the military in 1978, so I was 12, 13. It was my freshman year in high school. My next door neighbor, he was my teammate. He was a year ahead of me. His brother went to New York University, film school. They won an award for a movie. It's on YouTube, The Vastetti Principle. It's a 30-minute movie, and there's a guy sitting on the front porch, right? That's my dad. Charlie Barnett was the only paid actor from Miami Vice, the show, and the movie DC Cab. So he asked my dad to get off the porch. He said, Maddie, give me your scene. My dad's like, I don't know what, that's just how my dad was. So Charlie in his brilliance said, just sit there. So my dad, through 2 scenes, just sat there with his face. Like I told people, that's the face he had his whole life. My dad was just a different type of guy, man. He chopped off his finger by accident on a hunting trip. They packed it with coffee, drank whiskey, and he just finished the trip. Like and he would go around in bars. Remember choosing odds, evens? So he was always odd. He had 1.5 fingers. So that type of stuff. But so they made this movie, The Vestetti Principle. Now, Chaz Palminteri, Bronx Hill, the actor, he lived down the street. Now I was like 7. His father taught us how to box. So now Chaz it's just, and then my mom also worked part-time because back then, if you wanted to have a house, you had to, so she worked in the weekend as a waitress at different restaurants. And you would come home. I'd come home from school, it'd be a fire truck, the police, the milkman, the mailman, everyone would be just hanging out with my dad in the backyard, be playing cards or whatever, or having fun. And that's just how I grew up. So I participated in this movie. Part I'm leaving out is he married Joie Gallo, Crazy Joe Gallo, the head of the Gambino family's daughter. So like 12 years old, I'm walking around Mulberry Street. They lived above CBGB's. Remember So I swear, you can't make this stuff up. It was really, really, but I threw myself into sports. And my brother was taking karate and I was taking it with him. So when he went in the Air Force, his teacher said, "Are you going to stick it out?" I said, "Well, I don't have the money." He's like, "Look, you can volunteer, you can help me out." So that helped me tremendously because, that's a great discipline, So, but then, like I thought when I got my black belt, I thought I was going to get an award. I got a lecture like, if you ever use this to harm someone, I will find you. And, and he said, "Congratulations, you're now skilled in violence, but you better use it to help someone," which I've never really had to. I've had a couple of people like, I don't know, like about 10 years ago out here, this kid, man, he cut me off, was cutting people off. Then he stops at the light and blocks me and gets out. And he punches me in the face. And my daughter was just born. I said, my 6-month-old daughter hits me hard than that in pajamas at 12. I said, "First of all, why don't you have a job?" I was on my way to MRI. So I just grabbed him, put him on the ground, put a sweatshirt over his head, and I said, "Listen, I'm going to let you up, put back in the car, and go home." This was in Muncie. And his girlfriend's like, "Oh, leave him alone, leave him alone." I said, "First of all, you two get out of your damn pajamas and go home. What are you doing?" Because he was driving, cutting people off. So finally, I said, and I said, "What is wrong with you, dude?" He pulls up in front of the light. He gets out, now he wants to fight me. And I'm like, "Oh, I'm late, man. Let me just get this over with." But what am I going to do? He wasn't a credible threat, and that's, the other thing. And that's the challenge too nowadays, like with having children, you always tell your kids, like, don't ever start a fight. But I tell them, if someone has a crazy look in their face and they come up to you, you better drop them. Don't get, because kids nowadays are crazy, man. I was talking to this kid the other day. He went to sell a pair of sneakers and the guy robbed him at gunpoint, so, the rules have changed and we have to watch each other and watch our children and, get them grounded, basics. We got our quest to discover Mars and be first. And, truth don't matter anymore as long as you get the story first.
That's it.
We lost sight of the basics, and basics create balance.
Oh, I like that.
Right?
I like that. Basics create balance.
Repetition is the mother of all skills.
I always say sometimes we got to go back to the basics. We got
to the basics, man.
Basics, because
You
things
were.
are so far fetched and out of reach that if we go back to the basic, when times were a little bit simpler, we can do things a little bit better. I was thinking about when you were talking about being in karate. My husband was also in karate, and he was a black belt, and his hands were registered. When I met him, he was he was young and back in his day and a big guy, and when I started talking to him, he was talking about karate, and so I'm thinking about, oh, you can beat up everybody. He's like, no, that's not what it's for. And
Right.
he started talking to me and telling me, and he's like one of the most disciplined people that I've met from taking
Yeah.
karate. And I think the fact that you said being young and getting in sports is something that helped you, and that's the same thing my husband said. He said being able to be in sports and to do karate actually calmed him down because he was like hyper and he was doing things that would get in trouble. But when he took the
Yeah.
karate, it helped him. And I can tell you what, he doesn't raise his voice, he doesn't get overwhelmed. He's always calm, cool, and collected. And so I agree. We need to start pouring more time into our children and getting them in activities and in the things that they can use their brains and not have to use their hands, because now that they have this gift, they know why and when they should use it, right?
And let them figure things out for themselves too. Like I don't, like if I don't agree with something or if I, don't want to watch it, I don't put that on my kids. That's, I let them, kids, because they're smart. Kids figure it out. See, kids don't, remember, do as I say. No, kids do as we do. So, and,
That's it.
so,
they're a reflection of our light, right?
Yeah.
And they're only going to shine as bright as the light that's shining on them. And
Right.
they're the reflection. And so we always say you're only as strong as your weakest link. And
Yes.
so and so you've got to build your kids up to be strong and resilient, but at the same time, they do have to learn things on their own.
Yeah. See, now my wife tends to undercompensate, so I have to overcompensate, or vice versa.
That's what happens when you have a 2-parent household.
Yeah.
We need to get back to that too, right?
Oh, of course. I mean, even like when me and my ex, like we're still. Well, I have an old son. His mother. I'm not even going to get into that story, but I'm saying my ex from Michigan. Like we was mad cool. I mean, she's an executive with a loan company. And one of the guys I hired, he was one of the Valdesta boys, man, from Valdesta, Georgia. And I just met some. And then when I coached the softball team, one of the guys that I got on the team, him and his father coached St. Mary's Orchard Lake, which is a prestigious baseball school. So he lived next to Barry Sanders. So we got the group home. We used to take the kids, the old Silverdome, and put the programs on the seats, because they had 10,000 bleacher seats. And they would give us like a group check. And I would sit in the end zone and watch Barry. And like one time I was like, hey, he was like, you can talk to me, because when you're just in a presence of greatness, like Barry Sanders, and it was funny because we would get there early sometimes, and he'd get out of his car. He had an old Range Rover, corduroy pants, hair all messed up. Like he didn't even look like an athlete. He was magical. See, God put people on this earth to humble some of us humans. You know what I mean? He was and donated 10% to his church, looked out for his father, retired after 10 years. Well, boy, was he magical, right? Very. So it was a lot of fun. But here's a good story. This kid, Jeff, was he played shortstop, and he was just a great athlete. One day they had the bachelor party, and so he pulls up to my house with the bus from St. Mary's Orchard Lake, like 11:30 at night, disco lights, for this bachelor party with a conductor's hat on, with all these guys in the back, man. And Barry Sanders went to Pine Knob. It was nuts, and but people too were accessible back then. Like I was driving one time, and all of a sudden, like this yellow Ferrari pulled up next to me with Sergei Fedorov from the, and you would go to TGIFs on Hall Road, and all the lines would be there. Now, it's a different world. I saw the last game at Tiger Stadium. Last time I was out there was for Captain Chris's funeral. So My understanding is Keith also passed away, so his brother. But I mean, I was in my late 20s. They were already in there. One of the guys I worked with is still there, and he's been there with boys, I think, about 47 years. But you know what, Pastor Steve, I had guys, these guys were brilliant, scholars, man. And they told me about 25, 26 years ago, if we don't get a handle and have kids, positive peer culture, start holding their own groups accountable, he said, give it 30 years. And it was about 28 years ago. He nailed it. He said, we're going to be in a world of trouble, man. And he was right. And Cory Booker Sr., right now, Cory, right? I went to a youth summit because when I was a kid, my neighbor's church was in the Bronx. So they had like a sister church, which was in Nutley, New Jersey, and then you had Newark and Philly. So Cory Booker Sr. Did the thing. And now he's a wealthy IBM exec. They got, and Cory's mom's white, but nicest people, And I said to him, sir, you got to ask one question. I said, sir, the kids are our future, right? And he looked me dead in the eye. He's like, we missed that boat, son. You know what I mean? Brutally honest. Nice guy. But that's back when politics didn't matter, man. I don't even remember asking who they voted for. I was in their 50s. I really still don't care. I mean, but people forget they work for us, so. And I think they made a fatal mistake because in their quest to distract us and divide us, ain't none of our lives got better. I know, prices doubled and, people figure it out, man, and so we have to, like I met you guys, right? I went in there, the kid that I was supposed to be wasn't there. So I knew you kid. Then I asked your husband about the Suburban, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we took a risk, and then before you know it, you asked me about the podcast. My wife came in, and that's you have to connect with people.
Yeah, you do. You have to engage. You don't ever know who you might be entertaining or engaging with, and you might miss some opportunities when you are not in the present. And if you're so busy doing something other than recognizing who is in your space, right?
Right.
Because we just started talking and hitting it off and learning things about each other. And it's great because the first thing you did was started telling us about your passion and what you love to do. And I want you to talk about that. I want you to talk about your passion for comedy and how that inspired you.
I just love comedy, and that started way back with the movie. And then my dad and just just some of the stuff like my dad came home one night and I was about 12 and I hear my mother screaming and what is wrong with you? So I go downstairs and he's all cut up, glasses broken. It's like, Irene, get me a beer. So here's what happened. Someone followed him home after work and they tried to rob him. They wanted to pull him out of his truck. So he was able to get out of the van. Oh, he reached over, locked the button, but the window on the passenger side. Now, this is back, man, a long time. There was no cameras, and now at the bottom of the Odell Avenue Bridge in Yonkers, you make a right here on the Sawmill Parkway, you've gone. But there happened to be a guy in the bowling alley in his car, so he got the plate. So these guys jumped out on my dad. Once he locked the door, he held the button down, and he went punch for punch with these two 25-year-olds until they left. So he came home, glasses all beat up, cut up. And I was like, what happened to you? Look at you, look at you. So he's like, Irene, get me a beer, please. I mean, no. So I come down, I'm like, what happened? And my brother Michael had just gotten engaged, so he lived in the apartment next door. My brother Matty was in the Air Force. So now we're going to find out who did this, right? So finally, my mother's like, no, I want you to see what you look like. And my dad's like, you know what? You should see the other guy. And so my kids had a T-shirt made. My dad, you should see the other guy with this picture. Because they never got to meet him, So I got married late. And but that was my dad. And so we got the plate. And so. And me and my brother, He was 19 and I was 10, 12. I'm sorry, 15. And his friend, the cops gave us the address and we went there. And, and of course, back then, whooped up on him a little bit. And then the girl was like, I'm calling the police. I'm calling the police. And this dummy girl, she had a warrant, the card, fake plates. So they arrested all of them and made sure they told the police that not only did they get beat up by an old man, but his 2 kids. So hopefully their gangster life ended early, you know what I mean? So, and, like you didn't want to do that, but you're not going to do that to my dad, So thank God he didn't get out of it. I mean, he just was, they would cut from a different cloth back then,
Yeah. Yeah.
My father worked 11 to 7 as a police officer, and then 7 to 3 as a lather steelworker for a while. So my uncle was the shop steward. So the city of Yonkers at the time had one building. It was a red brick building. And so my uncle's the Teamster shop steward. So my dad comes in and bing, things off. It bounces off one of the fire trucks because they're red. My uncle's talking to like a counselor and a reporter, councilman. So could you see that? He's like, yeah, that's my brother. You're not going to say nothing? They say, what? He just banged into the... He's like, well, the truck's been here 5 days for a flat tire. Maybe you should fix it. He works 2 jobs. You know what I mean? So the city of Yonkers painted the fire trucks yellow.
Wow.
I mean, that... But even back then, you know what? I was in the union for a lot of years, and you did your job. Got early, punch out, but you did the job. Now you got kids making $75,000 a year to hang off the back of a garbage truck and put your pals in there. Their title is lifter. And then they went, and they're done by 10, 11 o'clock. And if you're paling in the right spot or you don't tip them, they don't want to do it. And then they're like, that's not my job. Your title is lifter. And then they get in trouble at 1 in the afternoon. They're still on the clock at the other job, and they can't understand why they're in trouble. I tell you, man, imagine that $75,000 a year, and then the drivers are making probably $125,000.
Wow.
But that's why we're in this mess we're in. Because I'm all for the trade unions and these unions because they're really needed. But some of these unions, man, I'm sorry, man. The gift shop at Yellowstone Park away. You know what I mean? Like and stuff like that, man. Like, but
yeah, because you know what? I've been to the grocery store 3 days in a row, and I've spent $300 in 3 days on groceries that I'm just like, we didn't even purchase hardly anything because I usually buy in bulk and then I'll go and get stuff that I need and I'll add to it. But I'm just like, I remember for the things that I've gotten in the last 3 days, I probably would have spent $25 for. And now I'm just like, what in the world is going on? Is anybody paying attention to what's happening? Because even with gas, I don't ever worry about or look at how much gas costs because I know I need it. And my husband usually pumps it. But when I go to pump it, I don't know. I just pump the gas and keep it moving. But things are going up right in front of our face. Things are changing and happening. And we're oblivious to this, right? We're going to wake up one day and not understand what hit us.
But that's by design. They distracted us. Because remember, the only way to win a war is to not start one.
There you go.
You know what I mean? And then the only way to be for peace is to be prepared for war, or people are going to come after you.
Yeah.
Because somebody's always jockeying for position. And then, like the biggest offenders of the climate stuff is China and India. And they don't even have to participate in none of these accords under developing nation status till 2030.
Yeah. Well, that's just like TikTok in China is educational, but here it's all about dancing and making these crazy lewd videos. And it just shocks me because it's like people.
Well, I find it ironic that the TikTok building, they share with the United States CIA. Dude, I find that kind of amusing, But yeah, I mean, yeah, oh yeah, they show educational, all type of stuff. It's different. So, but but TikTok, I'm not really a big TikTok, and I tell people all the time that's why men don't live as long as women. These fools, ride your bicycle off the roof into a little pool. I mean, come on, man.
That's that.
It's like my buddy, man. He bought this house one time in Staten Island. Beautiful. What's that? The end of the. On the other side was the runway at John F. Kennedy Airport. He's like, Mark, what do you think I should do? I said, bro, you're at the end of the runway, man. Every house in the neighborhood is 500,000. That's 100,000. It's for a reason. Oh, my wife wants the house. A year later, yeah, man, I'm getting the. She couldn't take the noise. An engine part through his roof and dead birds. I mean, what did you think was going to happen? It's like if you buy a house at the bottom of a volcano, you're going to end up one day with lava in your living room.
You think?
I'm trying to warn you now, but they don't want to listen. So.
Yeah, it's a real nice house. It's a real nice house right by the railroad track. And I'm like, who wants to live there? Why would you want to live right there?
Right.
By the railroad track.
Like Joe Pesci and my cousin Vinny, right? That whistle every morning. You jump out of bed, right? But yeah, I mean, and we don't think things through, but it's also like cognitive dissonance. It's like you live under a dam. The people under the dam, they don't really notice it because they see it. It's the people 5 miles down the road like, man, what's going to happen when that dam breaks?
Yeah.
So we always think it can't happen to us.
Oh, it can happen.
And,
strange thing. That's why I told my husband, truth is stranger than fiction. Some of the stuff that is going on is like, what in the world?
Remember the tornado about 6 weeks ago in Winchester out here?
Yes, that was crazy.
Okay. Well, I'm the last house. It's technically Muncie, but it's not. It's Selma where that dropped. So we caught it on our Blink camera. It was 150 feet from our house. I will send you the 15-second clip.
Wow.
And then the funnel dropped. And my wife, it cuts off black and white. We could swear that you see someone. It almost looks like there's a woman in a white dress. Like,
you gotta send that to me.
I will send it to you.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
Yes, and it's so angry, and then it drops. And I mean, another gentleman died, guys. So 4 people died. I mean,
yeah, it was tragic. And
we counted 79 emergency vehicles. It was insane. I mean, and it passed us doing 40 miles an hour, a couple straight line winds, some siding. We had a little, but 750 feet away, it dropped at 150 miles an hour. And now it's right after we had just lost our other house.
I know, right? Can you imagine? Like,
I mean, nobody can have that kind of luck,
Place twice, so right.
Yeah, so all this, Muncie's protected by the White River with the tornadoes. Well, every place is protected, but you never know. Mother Nature's undefeated,
Okay.
So, I don't think plastic bottles is going to do it. Like, I have a friend, the Earth is flat. Well, that's great. So then, well, I'm sure one side is Jersey. We just kick all the bottles off the edge then, right? I mean, I don't understand. Now, whether it's flat or not is irrelevant, but I mean, to the point where, my gosh. And then you show me an auto by the Global Society. I said, you understand global means round, but you can't talk to people. Like, I have friends you show them facts, they'll physically run away. They don't want to see it. So, and I was like one of the biggest conservative libertarians you could ever meet in your life, shoot, I'd have voted for Obama over McCain, you know what I mean? Like I don't play that, man. But, we have to, whoever's going to serve us the best, because that's the people's house,
Yeah. It is, and I think we get it twisted. And I think that people don't understand how much power they actually have, and they don't use it. And the government is grateful that they don't know the power that they hold. Because I'm like, I read stuff all the time, and I'm like, wait, why is it And it's like, is it just me? I worked retail for a long time, and working
Uh-huh.
retail really opened my eyes to a lot of things because I had one of the number one stores in my district, and they
Uh-huh.
came in and they figured out a way to get rid of me. And I couldn't understand it. Everybody in my store was doing what they're supposed to do. We were hitting our numbers. We even got a $2 million, got a new store built. And the next thing you know, they are figuring out ways to try to get rid of me because we were doing too good. We were outshining the stores in Carmel and Castleton
Yeah.
right here in Muncie. And they were like, you're not supposed to be doing that good. We've got
Yeah.
to stop this. And I kept thinking to myself, if we're doing good, why wouldn't you want to promote that? But instead, they wanted to shut that down because no, you're doing too much, and we cannot allow this to happen.
People don't want to hear this. These people, they fund both sides of war for profit.
Mm-hmm.
And then their families go in as contractors and fix them up. And then, like, you know, MTV will send 1,000 kids from Baltimore to DC for an anti-gun rally, and there ain't no heat in the schools. $1 million. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man. And Baltimore's beautiful, man. It used to be. But, I mean, when you go from 900,000 to 300,000 people, it's a problem. You know, and DC is thriving, and they don't like the Beltway and don't have no money now. You know, I don't understand it.
It makes you wonder. In Ohio right now, they have laid off half of the teachers and the principals and the administration. These people are fighting for their lives. They don't know where their money is going to be coming from. They are worried. The teachers that still have their jobs, thank God it's summer now, whatever, right?
Yeah.
They are worried. I get on a prayer call and all I hear is pray for the people and for their jobs, for their sanity, their mental health.
Yeah.
Because their livelihood is gone. But then they go and they distribute this money to these things that make no sense, right?
Makes no sense. They make no sense.
But who are we? I don't know anything. I just get on here and just talk to people. So I don't know anything in the world.
I became my wife's content editor. So I'm probably the only person that left a no child care left behind act. Took me 3 weeks, 1,300 pages. Congress passed it, they didn't want me to read it. Because, you know, we didn't have that kind of money. But my wife gave all that up to become my caretaker. She has a dual PhD. And, you know, but it's not about money because she's not going to teach kids BS, man. You know what I mean? Listen, I don't care if you're gay, straight, black, white. That doesn't matter to me. Can you fly the plane? You know what I mean? And
okay,
right or wrong,
your
can you fly the plane?
And skin color has nothing to do with my safety.
I got another good story.
Harm me.
Listen, man, I'm coming home from Texas, right? So 11 o'clock. This is back in the late 80s. 3 months. You know, cell phones back then. My father and my brother waiting for me at LaGuardia Airport. 11 o'clock. 3 o'clock. I'm supposed to be back. So 5 o'clock, we're in St. Louis. Now, I'm no genius, but St. Louis is the other way. And then when 9 o'clock at night in Chicago, because they're trying to fill the plane. So I became the group spokesperson. And I was like, look, you're going to get us on a plane. So finally we get on the plane. And the guy announced, say, my name is whatever from Canada. I apologize for the inconvenience. I will get you there safely. Now, this is back when you could eat a meal. You could smoke on a plane. You could use the bathroom as soon as the light went on. Here comes this lady. Ladies and gentlemen. And she was nasty. So I said something. She's like, please be quiet. I don't care. I'm like, ma'am, please, ma'am, can you just... So after about 10 minutes, and now we're taxiing. She's like, and in the event the plane of a crash landing, you hold the seat cushion, put your head between your legs, and it'll float. So I'm like, so wait a minute now. So now I'm like, you know what? So you tell me if we go 8,000 miles an hour into the Hudson River or the Atlantic Ocean, is it going to save me? I said, ma'am, sit down, shut up, put the light on, and let's go. So I don't know. I think I created the no-fly list. I was like, we had enough, man. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, come on, man. Like, these are the same people who told us if you rip the tag off a mattress, you're going to jail.
In your
You know what I
own
mean?
home, right? In your own home.
You can get arrested for driving a bicycle without a helmet, but not a motorcycle. I mean, it's just backwards,
You know,
man.
I
Some
laughed.
stuff.
We were talking about that the other day. I said, I
Man,
remember when I remember driving in the car with my grandma, and I'm standing up in the front seat, no seat belt, no nothing. Her arm was the seat belt, and nobody had as many wrecks and deaths from crashes as they do now.
now I was born in '65, so my first car was my sister's '76 Nova, AM radio. Forget seatbelts. Now there wasn't no even DWIs back then, so if you weren't in an accident, the police would stop you at a light. They would pull you over, take your keys, take your license, throw your keys in the back seat, and they said, "We'll be back in 4 hours. You better be sleeping, or we're gonna come to your house."
Yeah.
As long as you didn't get into an accident. I mean, it just was. Oh my God! My father had the Electra 225. That thing was like 35 feet long. We used to go to my grandparents upstate, sleeping in the window, fighting over a blanket. You know, my dad swerving. But yeah.
My
Oh,
dad
that's
had one too. He drove us home from Anderson a many a night on the wrong side of the road.
imagine filling that up with gas now.
Ooh, yeah,
Yeah.
man.
But if you get a chance, watch the Steady Principle. It's funny. It's a kooky college movie, but it's funny. And you'll see my brother's because he was in the Air Force. '69. It's like a powder blue Chevy Impala SS in the driveway. My dad's Electra 225, and because part of it was filmed in Manhattan a little bit, part but the rest of our house in Yonkers, because it was a two-family and it was connected. So, but I mean, I saw the Talking Heads at CBGB's. I was like 12 years old. And I was on Mulberry Street. They're like, "Who is this kid?" Man? I was like, "Oh, Chihuahua." He's like, "All right, come on in." You know, people lying around the corners because they had an apartment right above there.
Yeah.
But times it sure changed.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
you
I remember thinking growing up, the president was the top authority. We respected the president no matter who he was. That's just the way it was. But by the time I became old enough to vote, Clinton was my first president that I got to vote for.
Yeah.
I learned real quick that people were people. It didn't
Yeah.
matter what position or what status they have.
Right.
People are people.
People.
And I think we lose sight of that because these titles, and it's so funny because I laugh, and every time somebody says pastor or reverend or lady or something, I don't answer half the time because you're talking to me. If you say,
Yeah.
"Hey," I'll probably answer faster, right?
Right. I know.
Titles
Yeah.
don't impress me.
Right.
But
And you know what? My friend, who was a New York City cop for 10 years, and he worked for the Secret Service for 12 years. Last year, the Clintons, Bush, and 2 years of Obama. And he told me the Obamas were the nicest people. He said, "Hillary, forget it. You couldn't even say good morning." The
wow.
Bushes were blah, blah, blah. But, you know, the Obamas, they were just chill. They were just, and he's, you know, now a big Trump guy, whatever, but see, at least he's honest enough. Sometimes it ain't about politics, man. It's about being just,
What's right?
it's what's right, what's not,
right.
because,
And want to stand up for what's right. And I don't think people understand. I don't think people, when somebody says go vote, go vote, go vote, don't tell me to go vote if you don't know what you're voting for. If you don't understand what is on that ballot, what they're representing, who they're representing, and why they're representing, then you can't persuade me to do anything. We have to start getting educated and understanding instead of just a lady told me something that really blew my mind. And she said, "We know we're not going to win, but we can shake it up." And I was just like,
yeah,
you know what? I don't want to just shake it up. I want to make a difference. Let's not just shake this thing up.
I mean, I hope they put us in a position where I really don't think they've seen the real crazies come out yet. You know what I mean? Like these, and then it ain't just the young black kids, the young white kids. These guys down in I mean, dirt poor West Virginians come down out of the mountains once a month to get their benefit, and these dudes, I mean, they've been crapped on their whole life. Like, you know, like some of these countries, like the Houthis, and you know now, like Israel, Palestine. I don't want to see anyone get hurt, but it Israel ain't fighting Palestine; they're fighting Hamas. And now nobody wants to see people get hurt.
No.
But people don't have to understand. And I only know from doing research. Benjamin Netanyahu, him and his brother got on a plane to protect people against terrorists. His brother was killed. He was shot. And he ended up becoming prime minister. There's 1 million Muslims in Israel. I mean, Hamas, they're hiding in hospitals and whatever. Without that Iron Dome, forget it. And then they attacked him in the middle of the night. I don't know who's right, wrong, or indifferent, but some ain't adding up. You know what I mean? Something's not adding up. And then we're in Ukraine. Now, my grandmother was part Ukrainian. She was born here in 1914.
Wow.
So she told me that was the most corrupt country in the world then. So, and they're not part of NATO or anything. And they have the Donbass, which is the wheat. So now you want us to send our kids to war so Europe could have wheat? You know what I mean? And now Putin's crazy, right? Putin rides a bear. She was raised in a cave, orphaned. BB, right? And Joe Biden fought Corn Pop, allegedly told Corn Pop to leave the pool. God forgive me, but I'm sorry, man. You got to call, like Easy say, I call it a spade and get paid. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But see, sometimes, but that's
Come
the thing.
on, man.
When people talk real talk, they get labeled mental or crazy or something.
Well, that's good. That's free advertising for me. Yeah, I mean, right. And you're exactly right. And that's so bad. That is so horrible because, no, we're not crazy.
No. But the thing is, again, when you see something that's not right, we always tell our kids, if we see something, say something, alert somebody, let somebody know something is wrong, something is going on. But what happens is people are so used to putting blinders on. Like then they say hindsight is 2020. No, it was always there. It's right there. You just chose to ignore it. You chose that it didn't bother you. It didn't affect you. And people don't get serious or get behind things until it affects them. It has nothing to do with me. So why do I need to get involved? Why do I care?
It takes a lot of courage to confront your enemies. It takes more courage to confront your friends.
Oh, yeah.
And blood only makes you related. You know what I mean? Blood. You know what I mean? I tell people all the time, you take 100 people, 50 could care less about you. 25 are glad you have them problems, so they got something to talk about.
There you go.
15, them are the dangerous ones because they act like they like you, but they're just waiting for something to happen to you so they can get with your wife or your job. And then it's that last 10. And if out of that last 10, 3 or 4 of them would take a bullet for you or vice versa, you're doing good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's the shame of it, but it's true.
When I answered my call, people don't understand ministry is not easy. It's not an easy feat. It's not glamorous. Huh? It's not, people think, oh, you're a pastor, you have a church, you guys are this, that. No. This is horrible. And I don't mean.
And how old was your uncle? Peter First. My wife's uncle worked at the Hilton Hotel in the Philippines. Chuck Norris used to make his movies there. Now, her grandmother came over here. Her grandfather worked in the film industry as an accountant, so they had, money they were protected. He got the calling, and he became and he's traveling all over Philippines, 7,000 islands.
Yeah. And
really, we had to, my father-in-law had to help pay for him because, nothing's free. You got to pay for your own training. So when you get the calling, like you lose it. It's like.
Yeah, and that's the thing that people don't.
You have to love what you're doing.
It takes money to do ministry first and foremost.
Yes.
I don't care what anybody says. If somebody feels like you get into ministry to become glamorized, to have this glamorous life, I don't know who they are, and they're not in for it for the right reasons. But when I say it's horrible, what I'm saying is you see things differently, you feel things differently, and I thought that this would be so easy. Who wouldn't want Jesus? Who wouldn't want to know how great he is and the love of him? Do you know people will hurt you? if you try to introduce them to Jesus. And I'm like, but this is a good thing. And I didn't realize when it said people will try to destroy you for my name's sake. And I'm just like, but why when this is a good thing? Because people don't want to be jeopardized in being able to do what they want to do. Nobody wants to conform to what's right. They want to do what they want to do. And if you stop them, it's going to be a problem.
It's got more powerful than that, Pastor Tanika. See, people, Satan has this horned creature. No, Lucifer was an angel. Here comes your friend. Satan will use someone in your family they won't even know. I mean, people don't get that. You got to really be able to read people nowadays.
It's not, because it's not flesh, it's spiritual. And the spiritual principalities are going on. And people don't realize when they say mental health, they don't understand mental health isn't just a person that's crazy with these issues. It's deeper than that. Demons are real. I believe it. And I've seen them. And I know what is going on in this world. And it's like, how do you reach people and get them? Because you keep them locked up in chains thinking that what is going on in the world is what's real. But it's not. It's a facade covering up what is really going on spiritually, right?
I never understood it until about 2.5 years ago. But my grandfather always told me I had a third eye. Mm-hmm. And about 2.5 years ago, it came out, and it started showing up. You could see it in my eyes and things. And then my wife was able to see things, and then I thought I was losing it, and so stuff like that. But yeah, Satan is real, and it's subtle things, but yeah, it's real. But you see, fear fuels evil, so you can't be afraid.
Can't be afraid.
I'm just like, then present yourself in a physical form. If not, you know what? Go somewhere with yourself.
What you gonna do?
You know what I mean? Like, I'm gonna fight an orb or a shadow or something. No.
Yeah, what you gonna just beat the wind up? I mean,
it's cunning, right? And you just don't know. And if you're Satan and you want to take over the world, you need the United States. So you gotta subvert the churches, right? You gotta convince people that, don't get married, man. That's true. And, you got to remove God from everything. Courthouse, And then finally, you got to tranquilize the masses some kind of way. Alcohol, drugs, whatever. So.
Oh, now they're just freely diagnosing everybody with something so they can keep them on prescription drugs now. They're legalized drug addicts, right?
Oh, my God. And people don't understand. Psychiatric medication started as psychedelics. Like, a lot of these people, I actually believe Charles Manson and them, they were CIA projects. Now there's some real crazy. The son of Sam was from Yonkers, David Berkowitz, but he worked in the post office. Nobody knew.
No.
There's a difference between crazy and then there's just people who are sociopaths, But there's some genuinely mentally ill people. And I told my son Mark, he didn't believe me. When I got out of the Air Force, I got a job with the New York State Youth Division. I worked at Harlem Valley Secure Center in Wingdale, New York. Now, that's back when Geraldo Rivera exposed all the psychiatric hospitals. Well, guess what they did? They let them go, and they made them into youth facilities. They started locking.
It's a funnel. It's a funnel that goes on from the institute, and that's why I try to tell my kids. I said, I don't want you to be institutionalized. I want you to understand that there's something outside of that box, and they get so caught up in believing because, again, don't get me wrong, the teachers that we've had have been pretty good and they've worked with us, but at the same time, when you think that what this person is telling you is better for your health and your life than what the people that love you are telling you and trying to guide you towards. That's the problem. Because they're centralized, like you said.
Everybody now has to, you have to keep up with the Joneses. You have to drive a, certain car and and then the husband and wife have date night and the husband plays golf or whatever. So these kids go before care, after care, and you might see them at a game or something. And then you wonder why they're listening to their friends or their coaches or whatever. You know what I mean? And if you don't raise your kids, somebody else will.
Come
And
on.
these kids nowadays, I felt safer in New York City as a bodyguard and a bouncer. And now my buddy, who was my boss in the union, he was Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee's driver. Remember from Motley Crue and Pam Anderson Baywatch? So he gets out the car to open the door for them one day and gets hit by a yellow cab. So he gets like $250,000, and Tommy Lee gives him money, and he opens his own company. So I start working with him, and oh boy, I was the only guy in the mafia. I didn't even know it. I did this guy a favor one time, put together a crib for his daughter, and got a desk. He paid me like $20. The next thing I know, he saw me go beat someone up on me. Like, oh hell no, you know what I mean? Like these fake ass. Excuse my language, but
You're fine.
do you know what I mean? And 2,317 murders, I think, that one year in New York. And I felt safer then than I do in Muncie today, only because it was targeted.
Well,
It was the old Jamaican crack gangs, and I'm talking about real gangsters, in Queens, New York, and whatever. And they wasn't just going after random people. It was so bad, ambulance and police used to try to get to the scene first because everybody was full of money to take the jewelry off people. Imagine that, a body every 7 a day. So it was crazy.
Wow.
And, we worked in the clubs and after hours and, all these rap guys would come in or whatever. And I was never starstruck, but so the police would come in and they would gamble and lose. And you gotta get out here right now. We ain't leaving. And I've seen a guy come out one day with a hand grenade, like, you ain't leaving? To the police.
Wow.
Yeah, it was nuts. But the point is, if you mess with somebody's money, you did something real bad. Now these kids just killing each other for nothing.
For no reason.
For no reason.
No reason whatsoever.
No reason.
It's like no regard, no heart, no conscience. It's unbelievable. Because I know when
desensitized.
They're
desensitized. So.
Our parents, their parents used to raise all the children in the neighborhood. And now you can say something to a kid. It's like, wait, what?
My mother had a wooden spoon, was like 3 feet. She'd hit you from around the corner. Yeah. And my dad was the nice one, but like my brother, God rest his soul, he used to, piss my mom off. And, so I always called him Golden Boy. So, and one time my mother was chasing him, and he was the only one who could call my mother by her first name. And my dad kicked the lounge and tripped him. But yeah, every adult in the neighborhood, if the ball went on their lawn, you had to ask them. We used to hang each other down the sewer to get the ball. Yeah, one ball. We played stick ball. We played flies up, pole to pole. The bottom telephone line was the field goal. And that's it. And we went to school and we played ball and we had a blast.
Man.
And life was good. It was simple. And if you had I seen guys fighting, then that's it. You helped each other up and you shook hands and it was over. Man. Now these guys want to kill each other, man. Kill each other. For what, I knew Michael K from the Wire and Viceland a little bit. I met him a few times, and the things he went through, but then that pandemic. I mean, I don't know what happened. I believe it was accidental. They said he overdosed or something. But man,
that was strange.
Yeah, I know the flu, right? Listen,
that was strange.
And here's the thing. Now, right after now.
He was just getting ready to do. He had just did something, or was getting ready to do something, or that was strange.
Hey, listen, Kobe was getting ready to testify. Okay, he bought into a sports drink company that they found out they was using meth. That piled it 20 years. That route. Kobe's getting. You know what I mean? Anthony Bourdain. Come on, man. You know what I mean? I find certain things don't make no kind of sense, man. And Kobe manned up and whatever. They make no sense. And but now they're going after him. Look at Diddy, right? And them, they're gonna get them dudes, man. They're gonna get them.
Yep.
And Biggie, He told his mom about 3 weeks before. He said, I'm so proud of you, Christopher, for stop selling drugs before he got the BET award. And he said, Ma, if I knew how dirty the rap game was, I'd have kept selling drugs. And she said, oh, come on, quit it. And 3 weeks later, he's dead.
It makes you wonder.
He's in a bulletproof SUV, 13 shots. And he's the only one that gets 4 guys. Pac, I mean, come on. It don't make no sense, man. It makes no sense.
We were talking about this, and we're gonna have to wrap up in a minute. But we were talking about this earlier because
did we do an hour already?
Yeah.
Wow.
But Jeffrey Epstein. We were talking about Jeffrey Epstein because this is how like stuff started coming to a head, right? But first of all, who are you? Where did you come from? How is your name tied to all of this stuff? But really, nobody knows who you are.
Well, I know that. I believe Diddy's the one who gave him that $60 million apartment in New York. I don't know. That's what I've heard. The sergeant on duty was Hillary's best friend, but everyone's Hillary's best friend. I mean, God forgive me, but anger, denial, acceptance. They have never accepted that Hillary lost. And however people want to take that, until you accept the mourning of a loss, a job, a death, an election or something, you will never be right. And we've never accepted it to the point where that's fine. You don't like it. I agree. Oh my God, you had his family, you done tore the country apart. For what? Some horrific stuff happened. No one should ever have to, regardless of George Floyd, no one should ever have to see that. But you know what? You'll never see that guy that one cop who did it again. They're recycling him. He's you know what I'm saying? Where is he now? He's got done vanished, man.
He didn't go away. It went away.
Robert Francis O'Rourke, Beta. His father's worth about $300 million. This dude, $100 million to lose 3 elections. What kind of money must you have? Right on the border of El Paso. Beta is like friend of the cartel. I mean, I'm just saying. I just know things because I research things. I don't cause no. Listen, I have no magic ball.
It's not hidden information. If you look for it, you can find it. I'm just like, why do people? I have put so much stuff out there that people gloss right over, and then I put a stupid video, and guess what? People will like it and share it, and I'm just like, but you're missing the real information. And so today, if you watch this show, I hope you're getting a wake-up call to know that if you see something, say something. There is information out there. This is an information world. It's technology is rapid. It's everywhere. It's worldwide. So there's no reason why we should be ignorant to anything that's going on in this world.
No.
It's right.
I can't believe an hour passed. We kept it 100 too. We did good, right? I knew we would. So that's so great. It's such an honor meeting you and how we met, and that's just, you just take a risk. You say hi to people, and your mom, your husband did. My wife came in, and that's how it's supposed to be, man. Like, we're so guarded against each other.
I know, and I feel like we know each other. It's like we met each other that one time, but I feel like there's a connection. And
we're friends now. I'm gonna drop off my kids. You've got to babysit next week. No, I'm just playing.
Listen, we don't have to talk about that.
Listen, one quick joke, 10 seconds.
Please.
Jesus was Italian, and I could prove it. Now, he was a carpenter. He wore a robe, sandals, drank wine, had everyone over on Sunday. The 12 apostles was union reps, and he was supposed to be born in Yonkers. And the shepherd said, God, I think we found it. And he said, no, there's not 3 wise men and a virgin. So they kept going. I'm sorry. That was a good one, though, right?
You know what? I always thought Jesus was a gangster.
No, I just said Italian. I didn't say gangster.
Come on now.
No.
Come on now.
Listen, I had a friend, and I used to complain. He used to say, get down off the cross, Mark. You know what I mean? He suffered for us, and he's right there. You know what I mean? And I mean, me and my wife were traveling with pictures since we met that we bought up. And, Jesus is not the Pope. Jesus is not in the, you have to believe, you have to read a little bit of the Bible, but
in here.
Revelation chapter 6, verse 6, line 6, do not disturb the oil and the wine. And that's what they're talking about right now. The wine being the drug crisis, the oil, and it talks about wages. And that's what they done did. They disturbed the oil and the wine.
Well,
And the elites don't like that.
it's only a matter of time. We'll just wait. Because we know soon and very soon, right? Well, Mark,
Hey,
I appreciate you taking the
I
time out.
appreciate you too. It's been my
Up.
honor. Thank you so much.
God
Okay,
bless
dear.
you. Thank you.
So, are we going to be able to share this on Facebook?
Yes, it's actually recording on Facebook. It's live right now on
Oh,
Facebook
okay, cool.
and
All right.
on YouTube. And I sent the links to you so you can share those again. But once we are done, I'm going to download everything. I'll send you this recording. When it goes to the podcast, I'll upload it and I'll send it to you. And at that point, right now, you can do whatever you want with this footage. It's yours.
Oh, nice. All right. Yeah.
Like. And I appreciate you. Just do me a favor. Give me a review. Give me some shots out. Tell people about the podcast.
Oh, you're the best. You got a great review. This is awesome.
I appreciate.
So I needed some practice because I've been so sick lately, and I really I'm gonna start writing, and I think we got a publisher, so, and hopefully do some comedy and.
Yeah, and I want to get with you. I want to get with you on some things, on some content, and work with you on some stuff if you don't mind. So I'll be in touch with you. Yes,
and I'm gonna hook up with my buddy Quentin, Mike Williams, and dedication to community, hopefully, and watch Kevin Brown, Third Rock. That's my man.
All right. Is there
God bless you.
Is there anything else you'd like to leave with our audience before we jump off of here?
No, I want to thank you. It's my honor. I felt bad last time, but that surgery floored me.
Things happen.
You know, but we don't get to choose how we die. We get to choose how we live. Yeah.
That same day that you were supposed to be on the show, I had to cancel all the rest of my shows because I had put my earring back in my nose. I've been wearing it for a while. And then I lost the back on it. I put a different back on it. I woke up and the back had went down. I had to go to the hospital and get it taken out. So, yes.
I done took my kids Legos in their ears, pouring up their nose. You know.
Listen, I said, kids go to the hospital for this all the time. I'll be fine. It'll be okay.
Oh my gosh, that is so great. Thank you so much. Say hello to the family for me.
I will.
Ann says hi.
Hello.
She's over here right now. And thank you so much. I'm not really feeling too hot, but I feel good enough.
I appreciate you so much anyways for coming on.
Oh, it's okay. It's my pleasure.
And holding true to your word. You are a man of your word. And I am grateful to have you here. So God bless you. I'm going to get us out of here. For
God bless you too.
Got to watch the show live or on the replay. Let us know where you're watching from. Hit us up. Continue to watch and be a blessing. And remember, as always, you were created with a purpose. So go be great. Goodbye now.